It's the Idea Explosion Challenge penultimate session because we have a bonus session. And unfortunately today, well not unfortunately, fortunately, we only have the wonderful Arash. It's always the wrong way, isn't it? We have the wonderful Arash, and Luke isn't joining us. He's not feeling so good today, but he is in the community. He can do that. So he's in the community answering questions. So how are you doing, Arash? We missed you last time.
I'm good. I missed you all too. Happy to be back.
Yeah, no, it really was. It just didn't feel quite right without that big smile. And you know, it can't be replaced no matter how hard I try. No, it's just not going to work. So yes, so we've reached the end. Well, nearly the end. We've got another session after this, but we've reached the end of the actual splurging and the Idea Explosion Challenge itself. And I just want to say to everybody who got this far, seriously, congratulations. You know, I know it's such a cliche, isn't it? Everybody who enters the competition is the winner. But I mean, maybe if you did, you know, entering the competition is one thing, but actually completing it and following the instructions and doing all of the splurges and finding the time in your busy lives with all of the craziness that's going on all over the world. Well, maybe not all over the world, but in particular parts of the world, it's amazing that you've actually done this, that you made the commitment to do it, and that you followed through, and that you're here. No matter how bad you feel that you missed a day, that you didn't do as much as you thought you would, or, you know, these expectations and comparisons. I mean, when you think about it, expectations are a very strange thing, because if you feel down about something that you thought you would do, what you're doing is comparing yourself in the present to a past thought that you had. Yeah, so you're comparing yourself to a past thought you had about what you would do in the future. Get your mind around that. And this is the amazing thing about the human mind, is that it can do these mental somersaults around time. But really, expectations aren't so helpful in the creative process. And comparisons, not appropriately applied, are also not so helpful in the inappropriately applied are also not so helpful in the creative process. They can be helpful, but also they can really destroy your creativity. So, and we're going to talk a bit more about that in this session, because we are talking about trying to find the right button to press. Not that one, this one. Right, there we go. We're talking about the direct listening, not splurge, not the direct listening splurge at all. The direct listening session. Sorry about that. I noticed that just before this, I noticed that the first slide, I hadn't changed the title. So I changed the title to direct listening and forgot that it didn't, I just saw the yellow bit. So there you go. As you can tell, very pro here. So it's meant to say the direct listening session, but I'm not going to change it now, okay? So you're not going to do another splurge. It's okay. So today you're going to find out why the way that you listen is as important as how you make music, and how to win the race against boredom and keep the vibe alive on a track for as long as it needs to get finished. And also, I am going to go through the submission instructions for the competition. I'm going to do that after the direct listening, because you know what? The competition part of this is not the most important thing. I mean, I know it feels like it is sometimes, because everybody wants that nice new shiny Moog, right? But honestly, it isn't. It just isn't. Because the ability to make a bunch of music, good music on demand, it really is a superpower. It still amazes me. The ability to create value out of thin air is, like, in any way, not just in music, in lots of different ways, it's just an amazing thing. The creative process is one of those things I'm passionate about as a thing on its own, whether it's in music or writing or building businesses or whatever it might be, marketing, science. The creative process just absolutely amazes me, and that's why I kind of do what I do. Really, I've chosen music as my way. I mean, I didn't do this obviously as a young child. Well, I'm really interested. 7-year-old Mike. I'm really interested in the creative process. I think I'm going to start practicing the piano. That's not what happened. What happened was my mum said, practice the piano, Michael, every day. And so I ended up doing music, which led me on to becoming fascinated with the creative process. But now, one of the main reasons that I make music is in order to become better at the creative process itself. Of course, I love the music. I love what it does. I love how it makes us feel. But really, the creative process itself is, I think, the defining characteristic of humankind. Every single thing that you're probably looking at now has been made by a human mind. Maybe not completely by a human mind, but it started out as a thought in a human mind, which is incredible to think about. Obviously, the trees didn't, but probably the trees were planted by a human mind. Yeah. So yeah, the creative process is where it's at for me. And don't forget, one person is going to have to start making faces like this when this Moog. I keep saying Moog. So yes, there's Luke in spirit. Yes. So about the competition, all the instructions for submitting your entries are on the coaching site, and the link is in the description. But we are going to go through that as well in person here, so we can answer your questions live as well if you have any. Okay. And remember, we're adding a bonus session after the challenge is over, and this is next week. So it's Monday, January the 18th, same time, January 19th for Australia, New Zealand, and this side of the world, or end of the world, the bottom end. Although I like to think of it as the top end, because did you know that the water goes around the plug holes the opposite way down here? Yeah, it's crazy. And also here it's summer, which is very strange. Summer on the beach. Christmas on the beach. Unusual experience. We go to some of these kind of Christmas. We didn't this year, obviously, but we go to these kind of Christmas parties on the beach, and they have things like Santa arriving on a water. What are they called? I've totally forgot the name of them.
Jet ski.
Jet ski, yeah. Yeah. See you, Rudolph. Who needs reindeers? We've got a jet ski. Anyway, so Monday, January the 18th, same time as this session. I'm going to give you a roadmap for the entire creative process. As I said, I've been obsessed with the creative process ever since I started making music. How it works, why sometimes you're on fire and other times you're, like in the dirt. I'm a terrible person. I can't write any music. Other times you're like, I'm on fire. I'm amazing. Why is that? It's very, very strange. So because of that obsession, I think I've got to a point where I kind of understand. I mean, I don't completely understand it, but I understand it fairly well. And I'm going to give you that roadmap of the creative process. You're also going to discover the areas which common sense tell you to do, but which damage your process and destroy your ideas. One of the other things I've noticed about the creative process is that what seems to be the right thing to do is rarely the right thing to do. I don't know why that is, but it just is. It's just the way the human mind works. And find out why, and this can be somewhat unusual for a lot of people, but why the biggest opportunity for a music producer that I've ever witnessed in my entire life is right now. It's funny, I've been in quite a few conversations with various different people who are saying, what's the point about making music? And I'm like, what's the point? Have you not noticed that there's the biggest opportunity? And they look at me as if I'm some, idiot, which may well be true, but not on this point. Right now is the biggest opportunity I have ever witnessed for a music producer, an independent music producer specifically, a musician, composer, artist, if you can make great music consistently. Okay, that is an important part of it. Yeah. And I mean, I'm so convinced of this that I actually came back to making music, and I mean, it kind of forced me to make music again, and also launched this new artist project, Zentor, with the one track a week thing, which has now turned into one album a week, given the new things that are happening, but that are happening in my creative process. So, yeah, if you're interested in hearing this crazy talk, which isn't crazy at all when you actually think about it, then please attend that session. Again, The link for that session is in the description. And you will notice today that I actually managed to get the stream in the right place. I aimed my stream like a pro. Center of the bullseye. So there you go. We're all learning from our mistakes. So Arash, just before we go on, have there been any questions?
No, everyone's excited about the one question that did come up is, does Santa surf?
Yes, absolutely. He's really, really good as well. I'm so not a surfer that I'm gonna murder it. I'm gonna sound like your dad, basically. Something about, I don't know, totally gnarly, catching some tubes, man. Or something, I don't know. Around here it's proper. It's like Scary Surfer Central. You know, you got like 3-year-old kids like, all right, Dad, like this massive. And they're like, it's like, maybe I'm overstating it with 3-year-old kids, but it's like insane. It's like complete surf Central. Anyway. Not me, however. Not me. I mean, I would love to, but I made the decision that you know what I said when success is about what you say no to.
Yes.
And when I came to Australia, to live, one of the first things I did was I got a couple of surf lessons, and immediately I said to myself, this is going to be, if I get into surfing, it's going to be not a problem because it's great. But it's going to take a lot of my time. Yeah, I'm just not gonna. There's no option. It's just so amazing. It's just so great. And at that point, we had one child, another on the way, and I was starting to build this business. This was back in 2012. Starting to build this business, and I was like, it's kind of either the business or the surfing. Right? Either the business and children or the surfing. So I was like, I'm just not going to do it, and I made that decision. So it kind of pains me that I didn't do that, but I don't think I would have got to where I was. I'm not saying that no surfers can be successful, but it's just for me, I just didn't feel at that point I could do it, because I tend to get very obsessed about things. You might have noticed. I tend to get really obsessed with things, and surfing would have been one of those things. Anyway, coming back to the point. What we're doing today is we're going to review your challenge, how it went for you. I'm going to give you a direct listening explanation, kind of in person. There is one on the site as well, but I think it would be helpful for me to be able to, actually tell you about it through actually me rather than video me. And then we're going to direct listen to some of your splurges, just a few. Then I'm going to give you the competition submission procedure, and as ever, we will answer your questions as and when they come up. Okie dokie. So first, let's review. How many splurges did you do? How many splurges?
Reverbate, 26. Robin of Loopsley, 20.
Nice.
I don't know how you say this name.
Zabox.
Zabox, 65.
Wow.
Max, 22. Oh, the numbers are coming in. Mike, 28. Billy, only 23.
Only?
Right?
Come on, Billy. Stop doing yourself down. Like,
For real.
Like only 23. I just don't think. You should. I want you to say 23. Come on. Okay. Give yourself.
Yes.
Let's not beat ourselves up about the expectations that we had. This is what I mean about expectations. Yeah. You did 23 more splurges this month than you did last month. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assets, 38. Michael, 21. Easy 3, 64. Mike K, 38. Tom, 20. Murofly, 43. Nut, 47. Claire, 30-something. Justin, 44. Jamie Bull, 2. Ianku, 55. Lie Society, 20. Ooh, Instant Person, I lost my place. 29. Too Enough, 24. Artie Pumpkins, 107. Super El Mundo, 10. Consciousness Productions, 30. Sam Champagne, maybe like 15. Muff, 164. Hurt, no pain, 29. Joao, 28. Yaniv, 33 or 4.
Oh,
That's a
you
big gap
Neve,
there.
you Neve. Always have to be you have to be the difficult one, don't you? Anyway, yes, continue. Come on, let's get through all of these. I think we should get through all of these, just as a big, one of them.
Big win.
Yeah. So,
Pat Levine, 20-ish. For fans of Wet Circles, 31. David, plenty. Simon, 17. Gurley, 11. Todd, 29. Frankie, 20. Semyon, 23. Maximike, 55. Cody, 30. Mr. White, 43. Quambo, 37. Loops, Andro, 40. Brian Phillips, 26. Paula, 36. Physics, around 14. Plus 1 final countdown splurge where I did 3 but lost 1.
no, you didn't lose
All
one
good.
because you did it. So it's okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So that count that one definitely.
So then what? 15, right?
Yeah.
Total.
Exactly.
Chris Freak, 26. Colton, 34. Ponder, 44. Hurt, no pain, 29.
Oh, we already got that one, didn't we?
Ryan, yeah. 14. B Mono, 42. Safe Nafe, 59. Colin, 33. Edie, 14. Alex Rose, 11. Yes, that is okay.
That is okay. That's and everything else like that. More than okay. That you did what was asked of you, what you asked of yourself. It's more than okay.
Yes. Daniel, 35. Leroy, 10. John, JLab, 36. Davidus, 12. Yoga Dollar and Kids Hyro between 30 and 40, I'm thinking. Isolation Disco, 45. Siofra, 12. And I'm really proud of myself, and you should be. Andy, 14. Kai, 19. VGMR
Mr. Mojo.
20.
Yeah.
How'd you say it?
I don't know. I'm calling
Mr.
Mr. Mojo.
I see.
Yeah, I reckon.
Mr. Mojo, 20. Sidjus, 11. Ezer, 26. Atol, 111. These Ukera, 2 a day. Adjustment, Tom, Myruski, 21. Kevin L.
Don't forget that one.
Right? Kevin L, 60. Son of a Preacher, 30. Jamie, yes, in total, 12. Ty Loy, 12. Frankie, I'm shocked I'm saying this, 20. Like, who am I and how did this happen? You made it happen, Frankie.
That's it.
Be Quiet, 46. David Sparks, 35. James Brander, it's been crazy. Last live stream, I've done 16. After the countdown splurge, I've done 40. Great work. Sean Connors, 66. Billy Scribble, 23. Come on!
That's more like it. That's what I'm talking about. Sorry about the sound effects. I just feel we need to do this somehow.
Oh, it's so necessary. It's so necessary. Big APOC, 27. Vic Stradamus, 49 total. No, Shemesh, 25. Bones, 27. Consciousness Productions. Oh, you're supporting the 11. Be Quiet, just 23 in 10 days. Yes, I know we said you already. Radu, 25. Morteza, 21. Rob, 24. Row, 14 splurges. Rob Farrell.
There we go. Yeah. Nearly there.
Rob Farrell. Giorski, 15. The Dog's Biscuit, 12. Richard Schaefer, 21. Ponder, 44. Dora Real, I only did 11.
Enough for this and only. Like,
Yeah.
we did 11.
Sadaka, 64. Gloper, 61. Filippo Brescia, 143.
And that needs a...
Marco, 11. Ryan Oblique, 25.
Yeah. Okay. Have we missed anyone? Could 12.
Yeah,
12 is great. 12 is great. So brilliant.
Yeah.
So we don't Yeah, of course. It's impossible not to compare what you're doing with what other people are doing. But who made 164? They may well be making. They may well have been making. Let's just give you an example. They may not be doing anything other than splurging. They may have been making music for 20 years. They may have a really simple setup and make really, really simple music. There is so they may I don't know. There's just so many different reasons that people can do more or less. So comparing yourself to somebody who you don't know is utterly ridiculous, foolish, and not what you want to be doing. Okay, this is one of the ways that comparison is not helpful. Okay, so you are here and you did 11. Yeah, we are not judging this competition based upon the number of splurges that you did. Of course, it's impressive when somebody does 143, but we are judging the competition based upon the answers to your questions. And it's amazing, I've been a coach now for, I think it's over a decade, because I did coaching before I actually launched this business. And it's amazing what you can tell from what people write. It's amazing what the sense that you get. Of course, you're not always 100% right, and you can tell a lot from what people write to particular questions, which is why we've put those questions down. So I'm not going to be preferring the people who have done hundreds over the people who have done 11, because it depends on how much progress you've made, what you've learned, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so please don't be beating yourself up for doing what you view as being a few. And by the way, a lot of the people who are doing over 100 aren't leapers. I know my leapers very well and masterminders. They're not leapers and masterminders. They, as far as I know anyway, a lot of them are new people. So don't think that they're people who've been doing this a long time either. We do have to actually say to them, because they did do really well. So congratulations to those who did do a lot of splurges. But if you didn't, please don't be comparing yourself and beating yourself up about it. Okay, you've won.
Yeah. You've won. Can I do?
Yes.
There's like 3 or 4 more that I'd like to complete it.
Of course.
Days Confused 22, Kristen Seeger 38, Elia 20, Raphael 2, Bendu 21, and I think that's everybody.
Great. Fantastic.
Harpo 13.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So now some questions with the review.
Questions. Oh, sorry. I
Yes.
thought you meant in the chat.
No, it's okay. So what do you now realize you could do that you didn't believe you could before? What do you now realize you could do that you didn't believe you could before? Okay. So if you've been splurging and you've really, followed the instructions, for the vast majority of people, it kind of opens up a number of different possibilities that they didn't realize they had. So that's basically the question I'm asking. What do you now realize you could do that you didn't believe you could before? Post in the chat.
James Brander says, switch off the quality meter.
Mm-hmm.
Little Wing Art, make music from scratch by myself.
Ah, that's brilliant. So that might, I don't know whether it is or not, that might well be a reference to reference tracks and stuff. I'm not sure it is, but it's like make music from scratch by myself. Often we think we need some kind of model, and models can be helpful, of course, but one of the reasons for splurging is that I'm getting you to actually make your own music rather than somebody else's. So fantastic.
Simon McAvoy, play from the heart without overthinking it.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
What have you learned from these splurges? Muralfly says literally everything about making music.
I'm not sure about everything, but there's a fair amount. Oh, dear.
Claire Jackson says use presets.
You can definitely do that. That is allowed.
Yeah. There've been a lot of like massively big hip hop singles that were made with presets.
Yeah. I mean, what's a piano or a guitar?
right? B Mono says, make music. Yeah, just do the work. Physics. I created music in genres that I always thought were too hard for me to work with.
Too hard. That's an interesting concept. Too hard. It's like what I really attempt to do in my own life, and also with my kids, and also with my coaching clients. And no, I don't think of my coaching clients like children, but with my team and everyone. The only person this isn't true of is my wife, because she won't let me. She's just says, "Stop coaching me." But anyway, is that I always attempt to get them to recontextualize hard, a difficult problem as being a more interesting problem. Yeah, it's like easy problems are kind of boring, right? So if something is hard, if you want to do it, then it's an indication that maybe it's something to take a look at, because it tends to be more interesting. If I was to say what's one of the hardest problems that you can solve in your life, Mike, to a sort of 18-year-old Mike, I'd say, well, to crack the code on the creative process. But it's the problem that I've been attempting to solve for a decade, and I think we're making some headway. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely you are.
We are, Ash. Not we.
Hey, I'm just continuing the relay here.
Exactly.
Consciousness Production says, turn off my perfectionist mindset, albeit for short periods of time.
It will grow. It will extend. Practice.
Raphael, spend only 30 minutes on something and move on to something new. Aiden, make music every day and overcome perfectionism. Hurt no pain, be way more productive than I ever thought. Jamie Bull, write hooks in under 30 minutes. Billy, make mistakes, be flexible with my ideas, work fast under pressure. Max, create without judging myself.
Awesome.
That's great.
Awesome. So the one which was, where was it? There we go. Spend only 30 minutes on something and move on to something new. So just in case you're thinking that this is, what we do here is just about starting music. It certainly isn't, right? It's like, it's not about, essentially the frame you want to put around this is that it's, ideas aren't all the same level of quality. Yeah, that you had an idea doesn't make it good, right? So, and you're always going to make a certain number of ideas which are worse in general than others. Now, a bad idea, like the other side to this is, a bad idea is an idea you don't yet know what to do with. Okay, that's how I kind of view them. But at this point, and if you don't know what to do with it, then it's a bad idea. Okay, or then it could be a bad idea. But if you work on the ideas that you do know what to do with, that you have a good idea about, then what tends to happen is that the music finishing becomes easier. Because apart from anything else, you can use the momentum, and also the end result tends to be better as well. I've asked thousands and thousands of music producers directly about their best music that they finished, and I don't know, 90% of the time, 90% of the people say, my best ideas happened really quickly. Right, they came out fast, like really fast. So then I asked them, so what makes you think that isn't, and because people think that that's almost like the result of it being a good idea. Just maybe it's because you did it fast as well. So it's a two-way street, I think. And it's not that you can't make music well by going slowly. That's definitely not the case. But when you go fast, you do tend to, because you kind of have to let go of a number of different sort of things that tend to stop you making good music, some really, really great stuff can happen, as I think we might be about to find out with the listening session. Anyway, so let's move on to the next question. So imagine you've been splurging. Oh, hang on, I've got to get rid of these. There we go. Imagine you've been splurging daily for one full year. Put yourself into that. So we're 1 year from now. And you're like, oh man, 1 year ago, I decided to sign up to this these two bald blokes, one of them making silly faces and the other one with glasses rabbiting on at us. And I thought it was a bit dodgy. I thought they were scammers. But I thought, oh, what the hell? What's the worst that can happen? So I decided to sign up, and then I found this whole new thing called splurging. It's absolutely amazing, and none of my friends will believe me, and they think I'm part of a cult, but I'm not. I've just been making absolutely loads of music. So imagine you're there a year in the future. Yeah, what has changed? What has changed? Post in the chat.
Raphael says at least 365 splurges, and a percentage of that could be finished products. Robin of Loopsley says, splurging for a year, need a bigger SD card on the SP555.
Mm-hmm.
Mike K in big caps, you don't need to put this up, but yes, it's certainly not a cult. No,
it's not. It's not. Just talking about the reason I say cult, I think. So one of the things about one of the features of a cult is that the people in it are very, very enthusiastic about it, and that what the people in it do is very different from what normal people do. What most people do. Now, both of those things are true of this approach. People are incredibly enthusiastic about it, and it's very, very different from what most people do. As a result, to the outside, to people who haven't yet kind of experienced it, it can seem like it. But there are some certain features of a cult which this does not have. One is that I constantly get you to question what I'm saying. The other is if somebody makes a good point about what I'm saying, I will actually take it on board and change what I'm saying. I encourage you to disagree. I encourage you to say, well, what about this? What about that? What about... And sometimes I might get frustrated, but I'm not. Yeah. So it's like the whole point is questioning. Yeah. So, but the reason that sometimes it can feel a bit like, well, what is this thing? Is that A, people are really enthusiastic about it, and B, it flies in the face of what most people do. So, yeah.
Yeah. But if you're interested in the Kool-Aid, let me know in Discord, and I'll send you the
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. No. I mean, there's. It's just one of those things. It's very unusual for me to be in a situation where telling the truth about what people are getting out of it sounds like hyperbole. It sounds like hype. It's like, well, what do I do? Do I not tell the truth, or do I try and sort of dampen it down a bit? But no, I guess that's just the way it is. Anyway, so let's just go through some more of these.
Yes. Yanib says, I release a tune once a week. James says, workflow is a lot quicker. Claire, I'll have a lot of great material to work with, and my technique with guitar, synths, and more will have made a quantum leap. Raphael says, you have more ideas to choose from. Rob would have released more tracks. Edie, my entire mindset.
Wonderful. I like that one. Brilliant, Edie.
Bimano, I like myself and my music.
Oh, hopefully you like yourself right now, Bimano, because in every interaction I've ever had with you, I think you want to be liking yourself because you seem like a very, very nice chap. So.
Absolutely. Justin, daily practice. Kevin, will have made massive progress. Alex Rose, would have much confidence in myself to just be creative without worrying about not being technically perfect. Less holding myself back.
About that. Okay. I want to ask anybody who worries about the technically good bit, about the technical stuff. Can you think of any great music or any great musicians who aren't technically perfect? Because I certainly can. Yeah. Who maybe their music is as a result of the fact that they're not particularly good technicians. I mean, there are some people who are amazing technicians and they make amazing music. But there are also some people who are amazing technicians and they make terrible music. Mm-hmm. Similarly, there are some people who are not particularly good technically, but who make amazing music. And there are people who are not particularly good technically who make terrible music. So technically perfect isn't the same as great music. Yeah, it can lead to great music, but not necessarily. And again, this isn't me saying don't practice technique, like, don't get good at your craft. But this is and this is a whole thing which we won't go into now. But just ask yourself the question: what is the difference between art and craft? And you'll start to get some interesting answers. Okay, what's the difference between art and craft? Art and craft, and also art and craft. No, art and craft. Okay, because I think technically perfect tends to be on one side of things, and is important for one side of it, and technically perfect can be important for the other. Yeah. So
I'll keep going. Frankie says, I'm at Yeezy status. Yeah. Firefly. Firefly, a daily practice that's like brushing your teeth.
Love it.
Sam, need to learn how to sort through all the splurges. Oh, including ones from before. Well, we'll touch on that later. Yeah.
That's coming in the next session. But also there's a thing in the content about the automatic music machine. Okay, yes. So as you could, the reason that that's called what I just did there, what I got you to do is called future pacing. And essentially what it is I'm getting you to think, well, if you did this, what do you think might happen? And the reason for doing that is you're telling your mind, it's giving you reasons to continue doing it, right? And a lot of people don't do this. It's almost like, it's not really making a goal. It's more of what would happen if I did do this? And it gives you reasons why to do the thing. And, quite often, people say, Mike Monday, he's that motivational guy. I'm not the motivational guy, but I do touch on motivation because so much training out there doesn't talk about it at all, because that's not our job. I'm just going to show you about this compression ratio thing. But if the person doesn't do it, then it's not going to do them any good. They might as well just watch Netflix, right? So it's important for any trainer to tell you why you need to do it. And it's important for me to help you give yourself reasons why to do these things. Yeah, which is why that's the reason why I do it like this. Okay. So let's move on to the direct listening part. So the question is, why direct listening? Because presumably you probably think, well, I can already listen. I've been doing it all my life, Mike. Why are you telling us how to direct listening? Why is this important? Okay. So has anyone ever got angry with you because they were speaking to your face and you didn't hear the words? Have you ever been in that situation, Arash?
Yes.
So you like, I don't know, say you're having a conversation with somebody, and they've been talking to you, and then they ask you a question, and you go, "Sorry."
Yes.
What was the question? Yeah. Right. But you have been hearing their words. Like you can hear the sound. It's going, like, it's not that you've gone and all of a sudden it's silence. The sound waves have been traveling into your ears.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm presuming that, for me, that happens a lot because I'm married. No, joking. So Sally, if you're watching, sorry. So is anyone angry? But she'll know what I'm talking about. This happens all the time, right? So they were speaking to your face and you didn't hear the words. Yes, right. Have you ever not noticed a massive mistake in your music until later? Has that ever happened to you, Arash?
Absolutely.
Yeah, happens all the time. I remember it was one of these things where I actually had to write on a list, like a checklist. Listen to the cymbals. This is when I used a lot of cymbals. Listen to the crash cymbals, because I just had this terrible habit of sending things to mastering and then them coming back, and like the crash cymbals literally sounding like it was the end of the world. Yeah, like this. And what that probably was because I was on deadline and I had been listening to the thing for too long. So it was like, I just, had lost the ability to hear that these crash cymbals were, like the hammer of Thor, and would make people's ears bleed if played loudly. Yeah. So if you've ever not noticed a massive mistake in your music until later, then direct listening is for you, right? Has anyone had the experience of playing a track to someone for the first time? So you've been working on it yourself, just yourself, and then you play it to someone, and then when you play it to someone, you're like, oh, you got to check this out, and then you play it to someone, and it sounds very, very different. Has anyone had that experience? Have you had that experience, Arash?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, hang on a minute, is this even the right version? Yeah, this doesn't sound. It's like, yeah, okay. Also, what happens when you listen to something on repeat for hours? What happens when you listen to something on repeat for hours?
I'll tell you, because I was yesterday, as I was mixing this track, the release for this week, your listening just goes.
Yeah, you lose the. If you're not careful, if you don't know how to listen, you can just lose the. You don't know what you're doing. You descend into a. I don't know what I'm supposed to. I don't even know. I mean, I did this. I was attempting to mix one of the live set album things that I'm doing, and I just totally and utterly murdered it. It was just because I just did it for too long. Yeah. So here. Yes, Colin, brilliant. You hear what you think it sounds like rather than what it actually sounds like. Yeah, you kind of start chasing the thing, yeah, the thing that you think, rather than what it actually is. Ear fatigue. Yeah, I don't think it's just ear fatigue though. Ear fatigue is part of it, but I don't think it's just that. It's also perception. Yeah. Lose sense of perspective. You get sick of it. Yes. Mind switches off to parts of it. Yeah. You go deaf. That's very true too. Pardon. And then either the flaws begin to sound normal or you begin to hate it. Yeah. Okay. So the reason for all of those different things that I just mentioned, things like not hearing what, even though someone's saying, you hear the sound, but you don't hear what they're saying. I can't remember the other ones, but the reason is that the way that our actual relationship to reality itself. So I think a lot of people think that what they are perceiving is actually reality. Yeah, that's the kind of the assumption. That's common sense. Yeah, well, I'm actually experiencing reality when I touch it, but I'm not. Because you've got reality. I'm not saying there isn't a reality. So there are definitely three mogs there. Yeah. And I'm looking at them, right, through my senses, my eyes, yeah? So my eyes are picking up various different signals, which are being transmitted to my brain, and then my brain is creating a representation of those mogs. It's not like I've got holes in my eyes, which are like projecting the actual picture of those mogs into my head. My brain is doing the job of creating a mental representation of those mogs. So what that means is that we don't actually have access, we don't have direct access to really real reality. That is not to say that there isn't a really real reality. I just want to jump up and down about this, right? I'm not going into woo land here. I'm personally not a massive fan of the woo. I prefer things that we can explain. Yeah, I prefer kind of staying there. I know there are lots of things that we can't explain, but I'm not going to explain them with magic. But I'm absolutely fine with anyone who is into the woo, but I'm not, right? So I'm not saying there isn't a really real reality. Okay, there is, but we don't have access to it. Yeah, we pick up things. What we experience is a representation created by our minds based upon what our senses pick up of reality. And bear in mind, our senses are imperfect. They don't pick up everything. Yeah, and our minds can only focus on a very small amount, relatively speaking, relative to the amount of stuff that we have to pick up. Yeah, so we've got imperfect senses which distort reality, and our minds which can only pick up a very small amount of data and also distort reality. Yeah. So in other words, reality itself, the music, yeah, is only one of the elements which will influence what we experience here. Yeah. So what we hear is only one of the things that is like the many millions probably of things which are influencing what we're actually hearing. The music itself is only one of those things. Right? It's an important one, but it is only one. Yeah. And what's even more mind-blowing when you think about it is that most of the elements influencing what we hear, we're not even aware of. Yeah. Like, because we can only be aware of very little compared to what there is. Okay. I mean, here's just some examples of the various different things that influence what we hear. Yeah. Expectations, as we've already discussed, comparisons, environment, context, mood, thoughts, feelings, what you had for dinner, whether you just had an argument, what you dreamt last night. Yeah, look, there are so many different things that impact our opinion of the music, what we are actually hearing. Yeah, one of those things is the music. Yeah, I just really want to drill this down into your mind. This is why I say you cannot trust your opinion in any given moment. Of course, we have to use our opinion as one of the sources of data to move forward, but we can't trust it. Yeah, this is one of those things. This, like what I'm saying now, is one of those things that people that I was talking about before, where it kind of flies in the face of common sense. Like you look at any training video in music, and there is this base assumption that they know that it's good in any given moment. There's just an assumption there. But when you really think about it, and when you look at how the human mind works, and yes, we do all have minds, and that's how we're hearing the music, it can't be the case that they are right in any given moment. It can't be. It literally cannot be that they are always right, no matter how expert they are. In fact, being more of an expert can often intensify this problem. This is one of the reasons I think that artists often start out great and get worse. Not always. It's because they start believing their own darn selves. Because they think they're an expert. So they don't think they stop questioning. Okay. So all of this stuff and more changes how we hear and what we hear. This is why you think it's terrible one day, then great the next. Or great one day and terrible the next. Yeah. This is why we can't believe ourselves in any given moment. This is why we splurge. So that we can move forward even when we believe it's rubbish. Okay? So, but we do still need to have some way to know what to do next, right? Because like if we just go forward going, well, I mean, I can't trust myself, therefore I don't know anything, that's completely and utterly useless, isn't it? It's not helpful in the slightest. Yeah, so that's not what I'm here to tell you to do. I'm just saying, accept you are uncertain about how good it is, but you still have to move forward, and here's how. Yeah. So one of the most important things we need to do is learn to listen clearly. Now, when I say clearly, it's not 100% clearly, right? But it's just more clearly than it is without this information, without what I've just told you. Yeah. I probably should have put more clearly. Yeah, because it's never going to be truly clear, because remember, we don't have access to reality, direct access to reality. Okay, we need to learn to listen clearly, listen directly to the music. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a bit of my music. Okay, and I want you to, I'm going to play it for about 3 minutes. It's the end of an album that I've just released on Bandcamp. Okay, and the reason that we're using my music first to demonstrate this is because it will be easier for you to disengage from your thoughts when it's my music rather than your own. Okay, so we're going to play it twice. Okay, and the first time I just want you to listen normally without doing anything different. Okay, so just listen as you would normally. Okay, so let me see if I can get this up properly. There we go.
I'm grabbing headphones.
Okay. So yeah, just listen to it normally, and then we'll listen to it again after the instructions that I give you. And yes, we are going to get to listen to your splurges too. Well, not we. You will get to listen to some of your splurges too, but let's do it with my music first. Okay. Just letting Arnash put his headphones in. Okay. So just listen as you would listen to anything.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I was telling myself there as I was listening to that, remember to unmute yourself. Remember to unmute yourself. Remember to unmute yourself. And then I forgot to unmute myself. It's one of those things, isn't it? Where you tell yourself something so many times, you actually do the thing that you're trying to avoid. Anyway. So you listen to that, and I'm going to play. In fact, what I'll probably do is I'm going to play. I'll just play from the bit we got to. Because that'll be more interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue playing it, right? But this time, what I want you to do is I want you to feel. The way I always start this is by thinking, just feel your feet, right? Feel your feet touching the floor, right? Now, just kind of widen your focus, yeah? And then just feel your whole body and just broaden your focus to sort of everything and the environment. And notice the music and your thoughts about the music and everything all around you when you're listening. Yeah? Now, I know this might not sound like you're listening directly, but you are in a sense, okay? So just broaden your focus and notice everything. Notice your thoughts about the music. Notice the feeling of your feet on the floor. If you're sitting down, your ass on the chair. And listen again and see if you can notice the difference. Some people might not notice a difference, which is unfortunately usually an indication that you need to do this, right? Because if you don't notice a difference, that means that you haven't built the awareness of the difference. Okay, so this is really an awareness exercise. Okay, so I'm gonna press play again, and this time, really make an effort to broaden your focus and notice everything. Yeah. Really focus on the music, your reaction to it, your thoughts, feelings. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I had to leave it playing until it got to the resolution because that would have been really mean. So it was like, stop it just before the end. That would be before it got to the root. Right. So on a personal level, right, just to give you my experience, when I listened to it directly, as I call it, my experience was I suddenly became much more aware of my nervousness of playing this to a bunch of people. I suddenly became aware of my reaction. It was like, oh, like there's a big kind of fear reaction going on there. So that was the first thing that I noticed, which instantly made me reprocess how I was feeling about the music, because the previous time I was listening to music and I was like, come on, this is getting boring. Come on, this is getting. It was like my thoughts were going, oh God, why did I choose this bit? I do it like, oh man, I'm sure there were better bits than this. Like the monkey mind was going nuts. But because I listened directly that time, and by the way, I didn't plan what I was about to say here. Right, this was honestly my reaction. Okay, so I noticed that there was this big fear resistance to playing this piece of music live to a bunch of people, and that there were these thoughts happening as a result of that, playing this piece of music to a bunch of people. And that then made me recontextualize the opinion that my previous self, when I wasn't direct listening, had about the music. I was like, actually, maybe it's simply the fear talking. Maybe it's okay. Yeah. And then I realized I was thinking, so then I, once again, moved back to listening to the music and noticing everything in my experience. Yeah. So that is how often direct listening can work. So can we read out some, what did you, what did you notice? Let's get some reactions. Sorry, my slides just went a bit weird. What did?
As you figure that out, I'll read some responses. Super El Mundo said, I think I heard more detail and more space in the music. Mm-hmm. Jamie Bull says, feeling very zen right now. David Sparks says, wow. Roe, very different experience. Billy, everything gelled a lot nicer. A lot nicer. Sid Just, I feel very relaxed. Beamano, buzzing, feels so good. Robin of Loopsley, more open. Safe Nafe, took me deep. Consciousness Productions, that was an experience. Enjoyed that so much more than before. Felt like I was the music. Leica, I was a lot more cognizant of the textures. Yes, I heard more things, more details than before when I listened back. Consciousness Productions, I practice meditation daily, so that helped for sure. I mean, your name says it. You better be practicing meditation.
Yeah, exactly. It's the personal brand.
Right? Be on brand. Muff Jefferson, I found myself very grounded, lightly rocking to the bass. The lead made the crown of my head tingle. When the piano came in, a shiver went down my spine and warmed my chest. Powerful. Rob, the pianos were way wider than the first time I heard it. Firefly, I got all tingly listening when the piano came in. Consciousness again, couldn't stop smiling that time. Muff, help me rest in the space between thoughts, really. Simon, that was a meditative experience.
Oh no, you got to read the easy comment. This is brilliant.
Okay, easy. A few more hours EQing hi-hat.
Yes. No. Now let me tell you about that. And there's no way I would have spent a few more hours IQing the hi-hat under any circumstances. But I'll tell you this little story about this. So I did this on YouTube. So it's live on YouTube a couple of days ago. And it's a half an hour performance. And the process, as you've seen, is that I record the instruments into Luna and play. Yeah, so I've got all the instruments separately. So I did this, and I did this thing, and I was like, oh, that was good. Yeah, I thought that was quite good. And I had a release to do by yesterday, and I was massive. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to do this new thing where I'm doing a whole album because it's working really well, and I really like blah blah blah. Yeah, so I did this. I was like, okay, I'm just going to use that one. I'm going to break my own rules and listen to it, and I'm going to get it done. So I looked at the project file, and I hadn't pressed record in Luna. No. So I hadn't pressed record in Luna. So all I had was the recording through Ecamm Live on my computer. So I had the YouTube video, which would have been lower quality, but I did actually have the recording, which does record straight into the computer. So I did actually have a file that I could use. I could extract the audio and then I could use that. What that would mean, however, is that I couldn't separate the parts, turn things up and down or anything like that. So everything that I had to do be done with mastering. But what was incredible about that experience, and here's another example of a mistake leading to a breakthrough, was that when I'd attempted, because one of the reasons I was so behind the ball was because I was attempting to mix and master earlier ones that I'd done, with the separate parts. And I kept on bungling it in the mix. I kept on messing things up, doing too much, basically. In this situation, I had no choice. I only had a stereo audio file to master, so I could only do a few things. So that actually ended up in a much better result. I mean, partly the reason is that I'm not a good enough mix engineer to mix an entire album, like live album of music well, and it would mean all kinds of automation. So that's, in other words, I would be able to do it if I had the skills and capabilities to do it. I'm not saying it's not possible, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be a better result if I had the skills and capabilities and time to mix it properly. To mix these things properly. But at this point, I don't. And this mistake forced me into a situation where I had to just simply master the stereo audio file. And what ended up happening was that as a result of that, the spirit of what it actually is, which is a live thing, was preserved. Yeah, and it actually is much better for it than when I was trying to mix it. So that mistake has led to me doing that. This is what I'm now going to do. Is like I'm not going to mix the movie, but I am going to record the stereo file into Luna. I am going to have the parts separately as well, just in case I want to remix them or but I'm just going to kind of, as a rule, just mix the stereo bounce of the performance as is. Not mix, but master the stereo performance as is. So what that's done is it's removed an enormous amount of time from my weekly process. And at the moment, while I don't have the full skills and capabilities to be able to mix an entire live album, it's also ending in a better result. So just an interesting story about that. But I do agree with you, easy. A few more hours EQing the hi-hat would have made all the difference. So, yeah.
Not at all. Simon says that was a meditative experience that could have gone on for. Oh, I think I said that already.
Yeah.
Gone on for hours. Two enough. Awesome. A more engaged listen, getting inside the music.
Yeah. So as you can see, when you think you are listening to music, if you compare the two experiences from when you were just listening in air quotes normally, and then when you were listening with your being open, and there are different forms of direct listening. I mean, those who do meditation will understand this has come from meditation. Now, I'm not a Buddhist. I'm an atheist. So I don't do it. I do it for lots of different reasons to really investigate reality. But I've got nothing against religion or anything like that. By the way, it's on a personal level. That's what I do. So, but I've been meditating for 10 years, and what I realized through meditation was that it was an incredibly powerful mental process that we can use to be more objective about what we're doing. That's literally what it is. It's noticing what is happening. Your thoughts, your feelings, the music, the birds singing out there, the itch on your toe. Meditation, is simply really the process. Well, the way I see it anyway, is the process of noticing what is happening. Noticing what is happening. How might that be helpful as a music producer? Right, noticing how your thoughts and your feelings are impacting your opinion of the music. Right, noticing the music rather than your thoughts about the music. Yeah, because the problem is that often when we are supposedly listening to our music, what we're actually listening to is our thoughts about the music. That's why we can hoodwink ourselves into thinking it sounds like we think it sounds like. Okay, whereas what we're doing in direct listening is we are sort of letting all that, we're not really letting it go. It's not that you'll have a blank mind. The thoughts and things will still be there. It's just that you're noticing them now. So you're seeing them as thoughts rather than reality. There's a distinction between, that's the music and that's my thoughts and that's my feelings about the music. Yeah, and when you start saying that's thoughts as well. And there was a question in Discord about this where somebody said, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, said, I have attentional challenges. Can can I doodle while listening? Because I find that helps me focus. I mean, you could. Thing is, I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2019. And my psychiatrist said it's actually quite severe, and was quite surprised that I'd managed to get very much done in my life. I said, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you, Ryan. It's been a struggle. So he said, it's quite significant actually, given everything that we've been. We went through this 3-hour thing, and it asked me all kinds of questions, and it explained a lot about various different challenges that I've had. But I think one of the reasons that I have managed to get what I have done over the last 10 years, because really the last 10 years have been much better than the previous, however many, I'm not going to say how many, I don't know, it was like 30 or whatever, is that because of practices like this, yeah, because I've been doing direct listening with my music, yeah. So if you have attentional challenges, this is a really good thing to do, even though it's not about emptying your mind, it's not, or anything like that. It's about listening to the music properly, directly, listening to what is happening. Okay. So, is anybody not clear on what direct listening is? Is anybody not clear on what direct listening is?
No, I'm going through the chat to see if there's any other questions. No questions show up. Hurt No Pain says, crystal clear, mate.
Right.
Kevin, you have a question? If you do, type it in the chat, please.
Oh yeah, so Robin asked, was it really the same section of music? No, I actually made the choice not to play the same section of music. I did actually say that. Sorry if you missed it. So yeah, I played it from a different point. If you want to test it with a different section of music, with the same section of music, then just go into the program where there is exactly the same bit of music. I made the choice in the moment just to play the next section. Maybe that was a bad choice. So thank you for pulling me up on that, Robin. I can always trust you to pull me up on everything. Oh, and by the way, Robin, you left before I actually re-answered your question, and we came back to your question on the last session. Okay, so towards the end there was more that I said to you, but I think you'd already gone. I noticed you'd already gone after by that point. So, yeah.
So Kevin L asks, I'd like a bit more methodology, please, on direct listening.
Yeah. Okay. So a bit more methodology. There is more methodology on the coaching site. Essentially, when you are direct listening, right? So let's just start by say you're sitting there. Place your attention on your feet on the floor, yeah, and just feel that. Now extend your attention to the whole of your body. Now widen your attention to everything that you can, and then play the music in that state. Okay? So start with your feet, go up your body, go wide, and then play the music. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's really quite, when I say simple, it's quite simple. It's not very easy because you start finding yourself getting distracted by thoughts. Because what will happen is you'll notice at times, oh, hang on a minute, I'm thinking. Yeah, well, I'm lost in thought. It's not so much that you're thinking, I'm lost in a thought. Yeah, I'm not noticing everything. So then you just come back to feet, body, open, listen. Yeah. And being distracted by thoughts isn't a problem exactly. I mean, I suppose it is in a sense in that you're not actually listening to the music. It's kind of like when somebody's talking to you and you don't hear what they're saying. Yeah, but you hear the noise, but you don't actually hear what they're saying. It's a similar experience. But the idea isn't to push the thoughts away. The idea isn't to do that at all. It's just to notice that you are having them. Yeah, that notice everything that is happening. So hopefully that is clearer. Again, there are more instructions on the coaching site.
King James asks, will perspective still affect the direct listening experience day to day?
Sorry, I was just doing exactly the same thing as I was saying. I didn't listen to what you said.
Huh? Say that again. Will perspective still affect the direct listening experience day to day?
Will perspectives still? I'm not quite sure what that means. Perspectives. I'm not really sure I understand the question. I mean, essentially, what doing that, what listening in this way does, is it changes your perspective. Yeah, it kind of gives you a more, not 100%, nowhere near 100%, but a more objective perspective, right? Because you're not lost in thought or feeling. You're aware of what is going on around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it changes your perspective. Direct listening changes your perspective, essentially. Yeah.
The Dog's Biscuit asks, would it be the same process for more abrasive genres?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you could the death metal, you know, whatever. I don't know why I came up with death metal particularly, but yeah, you know, noise, industrial, exactly the same. Hard techno. There's no difference. It's the same thing.
The Dog's Biscuit asks, would it be the same process for more abrasive genre? I'm sorry.
I was like, hang on a minute. Have I just got lost in some kind of time loop?
My highlight is in the wrong place.
I was like, now we're getting woo.
Yeah.
Time travel is real, Bill and Ted.
It's like Groundhog Day, but like 2 minutes ago or something. How do you achieve it? By trying to disengage from your thoughts about the music and focusing on the body.
Sorry. Oh God, I did it again.
Alex asks, how do you achieve it? By trying to disengage from your thoughts about the music and focusing on your body?
No, not exactly. No. How do you achieve it? So that's the thing. Achieve is not how I would describe it, because you don't really achieve anything. It's not a goal that you're reaching. It's that you are simply broadening your focus. So yeah. So don't think of it as achieving something. You don't hit direct listening. It's that you are listening more or less directly, I guess. What was the second part of it? So that's first thing. Don't think about it as achieving something. Think about it as approaching something. Yeah, it's like widening your focus, I guess. Yeah.
Then it was about the steps. So do you disengage from your thoughts about the music and focus on your body?
So the first step would be focus. I mean, this is a step. It's not always, you don't have to do it this way, but it's how I do it. Focus on the feelings in your body first, then move up and out. Yeah. And that will include the music. Okay. And don't think of it as disengaging from your thoughts or trying to push thoughts away. There was a particular phrase that Alex said. Was that exactly what he said? Disengage from thoughts? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay. Disengage from your thoughts about the music and focusing on your body. Yeah. So you're not really disengaging from your thoughts. Don't think about that. Just in fact, don't think about anything. Just focus on the feelings in your body as the start, up, out, and then you'll be hearing the music. Okay. So that's how you would practice it, not achieve it. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yep.
Richard Schaefer reminds me, but is similar and different to oblique strategies. Oh, noticing different aspects of all that's going on. So, Robin says, I'm clear, but it's going to be harder with our own tracks.
It is, and we're about to do it with your own tracks. So yeah. I mean, it's harder because there's more emotional weight around it. But so what I would suggest you do is listen to just music in general, like this. Yeah, treat it as a direct listening practice in itself. Honestly, like, I mean, why don't you, like, I've been banging on a lot here, Arnash, so why don't you give your experience of direct listening? I mean, what did you think when I first kind of introduced it as a thing to do?
When, like, way back when I first came across it, I thought it was, first I was like, what is this about? And then
Exactly.
when I did it, and I was like, oh, I get it. It's definitely, it's a practice, no question asked about that. And I found that it's such a critical part of the process moving forward. And it's, without it, I think is actually was a almost, I don't want to say sticking point, but it was, part of it was preventing me from moving forward, because there were a few times where I'm like, I don't know what to do, Mike. And you're like, did you direct listen? And I was like, no. So I did that. And by doing that, I found that the more I've done it, then the next steps seem logical of what to do next. I say, oh, this is something I didn't catch before. Or, like, for example, when we all listened to your track via direct listening, I was like, oh, there's this flanging texture on the drums that I didn't notice before. That sounded really rich. And it's those kind of things that's when listening to someone else's music, but to my own music, I'm like, oh, I'm missing this thing, or this could use a little more EQ, or I think it needs to move in this direction because I'm not liking how the sound is here. So it allowed me to keep moving forward with the direction of the splurge, because, like you said before, these are just ideas to have opinions on later, and direct listening is the beginning pathway to introduce more ideas to your idea.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, I mean, essentially, what it does, obviously, this has come from my experience of meditation. I thought, well, it makes sense to apply it to listening to music, and the shit, like, if you are, so we're getting a lot of questions about, do I do it at this point? Do I do it at that point? Yeah. So one of the things that I would recommend is, if you're kind of stuck on what to do, that's probably because you're thinking too much. Yeah. So just take a break. I mean, first thing to do when you're stuck is just do something else, right? But when you come back to it, listen directly. Yeah. And just notice your thoughts about the music as well as everything else about the music. Yeah. Raphael says here, great question. Today I went for a bike ride in the countryside and listened to some of my music. Is this direct listening? The answer is I don't know, Raphael, because I don't know how you were listening to your music. The fact that you were going for a bike ride in your country doesn't mean you were direct listening, because it depends on how you were listening when you were in the country. So, because you could be, like, I don't know, you could be in a cave, with a monk who was meditating next to you, and not be direct listening in any way, shape, or form, right? Yeah, the monk might not be meditating, even though he might look like he is. Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't mean you're direct listening. It's what you are. It's how you are actually doing it. How you are listening, wherever or whatever you are doing. Billy says, would you recommend doing it in sessions and taking a break in between? Yeah, so the bit where we actually do the direct listening more than anything else, we definitely do it, is in when we are processing. When I say processing, I mean deciding what splurges we're going to take forward and what splurges we're not going to take forward. And also in the automatic music machine, we use it in order to, we listen to something that we have done a few days ago, like a session that we've done, and we listen in order to decide what to do next in the next session. Okay, and we direct listen to the result of our last session in order to decide, we make a list of, right, here's what we're going to try. Okay, you could also do it in sessions. It's very helpful to do it in sessions too. Over time, you will just start to do it. It's almost like it becomes the default rather than having to intentionally do it. I mean, when I'm doing my live thing, I don't think I would be able to do this as I do it without having built that skill. Because if you think about it, the way that I do this and the improvising thing, it's about discovering things, and not. So I don't know. I don't plan in any of this. I literally just start playing and twiddle knobs, and then something happens, and then I play over the top. So it's about discovering things. In order to discover things, you need to be able to hear what's going on and what potentially could be going on. Yeah. In other words, you need to kind of be able to listen directly. So, music is listening. It's the most important skill. But you've got to ask yourself the question, what are you listening to? Because I'm willing to bet that most people are not listening to the music. They're listening to their thoughts about the music. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, you can have thoughts about the music, but you've got to know that they're thoughts about the music. And you can use your thoughts about the music. That's absolutely fine. But if you're listening to them and not the music, you're going to be missing things. It's going to be like when you're sitting and, your wife's talking to you, telling you something really, really important. And then you go, sorry, what was that? It's like that's what it's like probably a lot of the time when you're listening to your music. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. I can see one here actually. Okay. Is it the goal? No, it's not the goal. But so yeah, let's not think about goals in terms of this. Yeah, but I'll go with it. Is the goal to listen to it openly to see if it makes you feel something, which could be an indication of quality. So that could be an indication of quality. It's a thing that can happen that you hear. Yeah, I mean, there are different forms of direct listening, which I go through in the Leap, and one of them is noticing your bodily sensations, including internal reactions. So that is a thing too. It's not the goal, but it's a goal. Yeah. Again, the point of direct listening is to notice what is happening in yourself and in the music. Yeah. In, out, everywhere, like everywhere. Because you just get a much more objective view of reality. You don't get, as I said, access to reality itself, but you get an objective view of the actual music.
Right.
So.
Oh, there's more. Robin also asks, should we be pretending that this is not our track?
Well, you can. I mean, no. You can do that. I mean, if that helps, you don't have to though.
Okay. Billy asks. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I actually think I was looking for that question. Never mind.
Here it was. King James says, sorry, I didn't mean to be vague. I mean, is it normal for opinions to still change from one day to the next? Yes. That's 100% normal and to be expected. Yeah, your opinion of your music and it will change all the time. I've got stuff up on Spotify that was produced in 2006, 2001, right? And I've heard it at various different times in my life, and I can absolutely verify that there are no elves who go and change the audio file on Spotify. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Anyway, I don't think Spotify have employed any elves that go and change audio files. And I listen to this music that I wrote years and years ago, and it sometimes I hate it, and sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm like, meh. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is a work of genius. Actually, very rarely do I say that. But my opinion is changing. And this is from pieces of music that I wrote years ago that are definitely not changing. So it is 100% true. It's normal. It's, in fact, it would be unusual if your opinion didn't change. If your opinion doesn't change, that means that you are deluding yourself. Right? It's pure and simple. You're deluding yourself about something. Yeah. Or that your awareness isn't fine enough to notice the even small shift in opinion that is going on. So any other questions?
Yes. Liub Andro had asked about like emptying the mind. and follows up with, for example, you will notice thoughts perhaps like, wow, I'm tired, my body aches, I feel uptight, or I'm not enjoying listening to this. I feel hypercritical, the leaf blower noise is annoying me. I'm trying to find the original question, which was trying to empty my mind would be going against reality.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're not trying to empty your mind. I've said that a number of times. It is not emptying your mind. It is noticing that your mind isn't empty. There's a difference. Yeah, this idea that this is about emptying your mind is a load of claptrap. It's not true. This is about noticing that your mind isn't empty. Okay, you're noticing what is happening, not trying to empty your mind. Over here is direct listening more for enjoying or evaluating? Yes, is the answer to that question. so it allows you to enjoy the music more, but it definitely, after you finish listening, will be good for evaluating the music. Why? Because you have a clearer picture of what the music is. Right? So here is another one on that note. While direct listening, do you recommend to make notes during? Now, let's think about this. What have we said that direct listening is? It's noticing what is going on in the music while it's happening. Noting what's going on in you while it's happening. What would making notes be doing, Arash?
Not direct listening.
Right. Making notes would be focusing on your thoughts about the music, not the music itself. Yeah. So no, please don't make notes while you're direct listening. Yeah.
Which.
Yeah.
It also answers Nut's question. I said the same thing. Do you ever write down the things you notice and act on them later?
Well, yeah. But after you finished listening to the music. So, yes. Yeah. So listen. Then make notes. Yeah. I mean, Daniel says, would it be a good or bad idea to listen to my music once direct and once normal? So if I was to say to you, listening to your music normally is not hearing the music, is that a good or a bad idea? Yes. Let me think about that. Yeah. So you're not hearing the music. You're hearing like you're deluding yourself about the music. That's listening normally. Yeah, I would say that direct listening is the ideal way to be listening to your music. It's not always possible because you just don't. You're a human being. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, don't beat yourself up when you listen normally. It's absolutely fine. But yeah, I think from my experience of doing this for years now, listening directly, you can't beat it really. So okay, let's move. Yeah. Well, are there any other important questions? Because I think we need to get those out.
Oh, I moved to the bottom. Hold on. I lost it.
So Claire says making notes afterwards. Then yes. So direct listen. Then you can write things down if you want to. Okay.
Oh, here, I found it. Jorsky asks, if I think about the levels of instruments or the timbre, basically technical aspects, is that okay in direct listening?
All right. So, like, where is it? Who was it?
Jorsky?
Jorsky. Let me find it. I want to get the thing up. Is it far up or is it low down?
It's far up. It's like 2/3 of the way.
Okay. I'm going to get the question.
No. Yeah.
Oh, anyway. So the question was, repeat the question. It's probably quicker.
I lost it, man.
Oh, no, man. Gioski. Yeah. There's no way, unfortunately, there's no way of Arash actually having the thing where... Oh, here we are. I got it. Here we go.
Here we go. You got it?
Yeah.
If I think about the levels of instruments or the timbre...
If I think. The word is think. If I think about the levels of instruments or the timbre, basically technical aspects, is that okay in direct listening? If you're specifically thinking about the levels of instruments or the timbre, timbre, basically, technical aspects, is that okay in direct listening? If you're thinking about those things, you're not direct listening. You're thinking. You're listening to your thoughts. Now, what you can do is you can listen, and you will notice that you are having thoughts about the levels. Yeah, as long as you're noticing that you're having thoughts about the levels, that's okay. Yeah, but if you're like, right, I'm going to listen and think about these things, then that's not direct listening. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you won't have an opinion about those things afterwards. It's amazing. We think. Let me ask you a question. Right? Let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask everybody right now. Take a breath in. Let the breath out. Right. Now, you, as a result of me asking you to do some breathe, you intentionally breathed in and breathed out. Right? Does that mean that, and if you intentionally do it intentionally every time you breathe? Right? Every time you take a breath, Arash, do you intentionally do it?
No.
No. Thoughts are the same. Yeah. People think, like every thought, I think a thought. Yeah. Well, you kind of do in a way, but also a lot of thoughts just happen, like boom, they just kind of pop in there. Yeah. So yes, you can intentionally have a thought. Right. I'm going to think pink elephant right now. There we go. I've got pink elephant. So I've intentionally thought a thought. And we're not going to get into the whole the sort of metaphysical free will debate and everything, but because that's a whole other thing. But anyway, I was the person. I decided that I was going to think a thought about a pink elephant, right? But a lot of the thoughts that enter my consciousness, it's not that I intentionally thought them; they just appeared. Yeah, or at least that's my experience. Okay, and really, all I have is my experience, right? So. We don't, in order to have thoughts about the music which are useful, we don't have to think them, like intentionally think them, they will come to us. Okay? So there's a difference between noticing a thought and thinking a thought. Just as there's a difference between a thought that you think and a thought that you have. Yeah, I mean, they're the same thing, but there's a difference, similar to there's a difference between a breath that I tell you to take and you intentionally take, and all of the rest of the breaths that you have during your life. Yeah, well, not all of them, because presumably you intentionally taken breaths at other points as well. Cool.
One more, and then if you, up to you what you'd like to do. Oh my goodness. Never mind. Cody had a question, but now I lost the question when text comes in. Here we go. Should we direct listen just once to a splurge and make an instinctive decision on whether to keep working on it? Or are multiple direct listens one after another better?
So I definitely wouldn't do multiple. It's a great question, Cody. Thank you. And yes, I do have a metaphor for everything. You wouldn't believe the strange and wonderful metaphors that I can come up with sometimes, some of which work better than others, to be fair. Anyway, so should we direct listen to a splurge once and make an instinctive decision on whether to keep working it, or multiple direct listens one after another better? So I definitely wouldn't do multiple direct listens one after another, because it's almost like, right, listen again. Yeah, I mean, there is a real magic in the first opinion, because let's face it, most people are going to hear our music once. Just imagine that. And that's the point at which they're going to decide whether to listen to it again or not, or check us out. Yeah, so there is a real magic just in terms of how it is. Yeah, the closest you're going to get to listening as a listener is the first time. So that's the first thing to say. That doesn't mean that you must always make an instinctive decision and but I tend to err on that side in general. It doesn't mean it's the should, that we must, absolutely, this rule, but it's kind of what I tend to err towards. having said that, if you're not sure whether you want to or not, I tend to be quite positive about things. Like, oh, okay, well, I could work on that in the future. So yeah, but don't go like intently listening over and over and over and over again, because that's just going to lead to all kinds of messing yourself up. Okay, so now we're on to the interesting bit. What I want you to do, I'm going to give you about 5-ish minutes, maybe a bit longer, to direct listen to some of your splurges from day one. Okay, I mean, if you have done 11, then you can listen through to the ones today. But basically go from the start, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to listen, to direct listen. Direct listen. Remember, feel the feeling in your feet, then extend to all of your body and go out, and then listen. And notice when you're getting distracted by thoughts, when you're in a thought and go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm in a thought. And then widen your focus again, okay? So direct listen to your splurges. I'll give you 5 minutes. Oops. And I've got the things all wrong. That's going to be the question at the end. What did you notice? But yeah, direct listen to them. Get through as many as you can in around 5 minutes. Don't be posting in the chat. Please focus on this direct listening thing. And I'll be really, after we finished, I'll probably give you about 7 minutes or something. I just want to get your honest experiences of what happened, what you noticed. Okay? So, go. Okay. So, what did you notice? I know there's going to be some excitement, disappointment, anger, frustration, joy, hatred, sadness, happiness, surprise, motivation, inspiration. Oh, I'm a terrible person. There's going to be all of these things. That's what's to be expected. So let's read out some of the things that people notice. A bit choked up,
Little
to be
Wing.
honest. Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder what's that about? What, I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just interested to know why.
Want me to keep going?
Yeah, I've lost the thing now.
Physics. Okay. Physics. I need to learn some new chord progressions. Haha. James, I'm class. Reverbate. I felt more connected to the music. Billy. Oh, man. Come on.
Some
There
I
we
just
go.
found
Billy.
boring. There we go. Some I just found boring. Some were rather immersive.
Thank you. Consciousness productions. The qualityometer started creeping in.
Well, I mean,
Yanku.
okay, so that's okay. That's okay. Remember, we do you like we are. This is the whole point of this is to make quality music, right? And one of the thoughts that like, well, not one of the thoughts, but a constellation of thoughts could be called the qualityometer. Yeah. Now, that qualityometer isn't wrong, and it's not something that we disregard so much at this point, but we just notice it as a constellation of thoughts that might be right and might be wrong. Okay, so we're not, this is a mistake people often can make, is like when I say ignore quality when you are making music, that doesn't mean we ignore quality always, and that we're trying to avoid quality, or that the qualityometer is always wrong. It is a source of information, it is a source of data. But it's an unreliable source of data that we need to not believe so tightly. Because when we do believe it so tightly, it itself can impact our opinion through confirmation bias. Okay? So it's okay that you will notice thoughts about the quality. That's the kind of the point in a way. Just don't go, oh my, that means this is terrible. Well, it might, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yep.
Yanku says, wow. MDA09JA, a very pleasant surprise. Adine, the one I thought would never work, actually engaged me most of all. Son of a preacher.
So there you go. Right? That is a very regular experience. How many times have you had that experience, Arash?
A lot.
Right. It's like that experience, what is that teaching you? And if you're watching this and you've not had the experience that Adine has had, or that Arash has had, or that I have had, keep doing this and you will. Right? What it is teaching you is you do not know in the moment how good something is. The most valuable, I don't think I'm overstating it or hyping it too much to say, it's pretty much the most valuable lesson that you could learn as a music producer.
Yeah.
I mean, how can it not be the most valuable lesson that you can learn? So, Adine, worth the price of admission, which was free. So there you go.
Son of a preacher writes, I don't remember writing those.
Which is awesome.
And also very common.
yeah, it's so cool. They're like, oh, who did this? But I don't even, what? Where did that come from? I tell you what, folks, you should try actually writing your music live and then not listening to it for a few days. Because, like, you literally have, I mean, there are bits that you vaguely remember, but when you just so you've not done anything other than just perform this thing and it comes out. It's like what I don't remember writing these. It's like that times 10. It's insane. It's really weird. It's like somebody else did it. Literally like that. Anyway, yeah. Keep going.
Yes, hurt no pain. Goosebumps.
Nice. Hang on.
Bro,
I've got
some
it. There we go. There we go.
Nice. Bro says some really nice moments in there. Safe Nafe, how great my music is, and that I need to stop overthinking all the time.
Yeah, so I know Nathan, and we've actually done some coaching. He was in my mastermind for a bit. I think that's the kind of thing I was telling you when we were doing that, wasn't it, Nathan? It's like, your music's great already. Stop ruining it. Yeah, okay.
Nut says, things flowed well on some. On others, I remembered feeling bad about performance errors.
Okay, this is a really good one. Thank you, Nut. So why would you feel bad about performance errors? How is that helpful? Is it helpful to feel bad about performance errors? What's the purpose of the feeling bad? You can notice performance errors, right? But on the one, like, let's just take, I noticed performance errors and I didn't feel bad about them. And then there's the, I noticed performance errors and I did feel bad about them. Which is more useful? From my perspective, noticing performance errors and not feeling bad about them is much more useful because there's no wasted energy there. You don't have to feel bad that you made an error. You're a human being, Nut. I think you are anyway. Who knows? Maybe you're not. But if you're a human being, that means you are going to make errors. So if you are going to feel bad for being a human being, fine. But you don't need to feel bad for being a human being because like that feeling bad, it's pointless. It has no purpose. No matter what our education system has drummed into us, which is that we're very naughty. We need to sit here for hours on end learning this stuff you'll never use again. That, yeah, we don't need to feel bad for making errors. Yeah, we just don't need to do that. So I mean, I know it takes a while to disengage from that, but I'm very good at not feeling bad about errors. In fact, one of the sort of values in this business, in the team, is that we are optimizing for error correction, not error avoidance. We're specifically not optimizing for error avoidance. We don't try to make errors, right? But we recognize that errors are actually where we learn the most. Yeah. So if you feel bad about learning and improving, then you want to feel bad about performance errors. Okay. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now.
Good. All good. Claire Jackson says, gotta spend some more time on bass tones, but with a bit of work, I've got an album here.
Brilliant. One thing about that, and I don't know how you listened, but so I don't know whether, because how you listened and then your opinion now are two separate things. But just make sure you are actually direct listening, because it could well be that this opinion you've kind of focused on after the event, which is absolutely fine. But if that's what you were thinking during it, it may well be the case that you weren't actually direct listening. I'm not sure though. So.
The next
Jacob
one. Wow, my music has been sounding much more playful than my past work.
Brilliant. Playful's good.
Playful's great. Rob, some great sounds. Leroy, distinct awareness of my lack of engineering skills.
Yeah, I mean, so great. So you got some information there. You have a lack of engineering skills, right? With that in mind, so now you can put that to one side and say, right, let's just ignore the lack of engineering skills. What about the other stuff? Yeah, because engineering skills is fixable in lots and lots of different ways. So it's good that you noticed where there is a hole, because you can fill it. Thing is, one of the things I've found is that people are so obsessed with actually that part of the process that often they end up polishing turds, to be honest. It's like, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you polish a turd, it still stinks. Trust me, I've tried. Not with an actual turd, of course, because that would be a bit messy.
Sean Connors, tons of mistakes, but some good parts in there.
Mistakes are good.
Mistakes are great. Max, feels like I got an album coming. Colton, I was less aware / bothered by mistakes than expected.
Fantastic.
Rob, I want to create.
Brilliant.
Jacob says, I enjoyed it a lot. Sam says, way cooler than I thought, honestly. Not listening in the DAW makes a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to give you a for that because this is a very strange thing that happened to me, where because I started out making music that was recorded to tape. That was how you actually finished it. So it was on, outboard gear, and it was through mixing desk, and then you actually had to record it onto a tape. Our first tape was actually a big, reel-to-reel tape. Then DAT machines came along. That's how old I am. So we recorded it to tape, and there was it so we were kind of very, wet behind the ears, green behind the gills, young music producers, and we were recording these tunes to tape, and we were like, at first, because it was analog tape, we were like, oh well, it sounds different because it's analog tape, so it makes it sound different, right? Because we'd listen back to the tape, we could make sure there wasn't anything wrong with it, and we was like, wait, it's because it's analog tape. But then it went to DAT, and DAT's just ones and zeros. It's digital. It's still on a tape, but it's ones and zeros, so it's not. So we're like, this should not sound different, but it sounds different. And we spent hours trying to figure out whether it was something wrong with the desk, whether it was different leads. We did all these different things, and it still sounded different. I was like, all right. In the end, we gave up and said, well, does it sound okay? All right, it sounds okay. We'll move on. Then everything went inside the computer, and I started, obviously, being able to bounce out or record out, lots of different sessions. And over and over again, it sounded different when it was bounced out. And I was like, yeah, and there's whole forum threads that are to this thing, and in certain cases, yes, it does sound different, because if you've got a probability thing going on in a DAW, then there's going to be a different version every single time. For instance, in a particular soft synth or something, there's going to be a different version every single time. But the basic point is that, aside from if it is actually different because there's a probability thing or a different LFO happening or something like that, some random thing going on, aside from that, the reason it sounds different when you listen to a sound file is because it's coming from a sound file and not coming from a DAW. It's the context in which you are hearing it. It's the fact that you are not listening to it out of a DAW. And now I know that sounds to some people like, what you're talking about, that just sounds
No sound?
Sorry, folks. Yeah. Sorry, it's because sorry, because I muted. I can't remember where I got to when I changed the thing. But yeah, no. So basically, I can't drum this into your minds enough. Something about the context in which you listen to the music, or no, the context you listen to music also, but where you put it. So when you export an audio file, it will sound different to it does in the DAW. Not because there's something weird going on with the audio file, but just because it's an audio file rather than coming out of a DAW, right? Something when you play it to somebody else for the first time, so it's just not just you're playing it to someone else. It will sound different because you're playing it to someone else, not because something's changed with the audio file. Yeah. When you put it up on Spotify and it's not being played off your hard drive, it will sound different because It's on Spotify. And people will go, yes, it's because Spotify changes, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, that. But it's also because it's up on Spotify. It'll sound different if you listen to it in your kitchen. Yes, because the kitchen has different acoustics and you're listening to it on a different speaker. But also because you're in your kitchen and not in your studio. Right? This is the point. This is why we cannot believe our own darn selves in any given moment, because there are so many things about your opinion which aren't to do with the music itself.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, so King says, no, it was actually 8. You missed 8 good metaphors. It's all right. I've got loads more.
You know, playing music for people will really, the speakers never lie. And there's nothing like, it almost makes your listening a little bit more honest when other people are listening to it, because you're experiencing it the way they are to some degree.
Alex says, yes, exactly. So Alex says, do you mean it will sound different psychologically? That's an interesting way of putting it. So thank you, Alex. No, I mean, I don't know what you mean psychologically. It will sound different psychologically and really. I mean, it will sound different, so therefore it will sound different. I mean, what is there? Like, it's not like there's a way of listening to it without the mind, and then there's a way of listening to it with the mind. It's like, it's not that psychologically it will sound different. It will, therefore, okay, maybe it's a yes. It's a yes and a no, right? But it's almost like, I think where the no is let me just get the question up again. Where the no is that the assumption behind that question is that there is a difference between it being psychological and it not being psychological. But our experience is our experience, which is everything that we experience is through our mind, through our imperfect senses, processed by our brain, which then creates a representation. So in that sense, if that's what you mean, then yes, it is psychological, but it's like, well, but that is reality to us. Yeah? Because I think maybe the assumption behind the question is that, but in reality, it doesn't sound, as if we can access it non-psychologically, but we can't, because everything is a representation created by our brains. So in other words, it sounds different. That doesn't mean it's different. We're different, and that's the important insight. We change all the time. Our context changes all the time. What's happening to us is changing all the time, but the music isn't.
There's so many comments.
Yes.
There's so many comments, and there's a lot of, one common one is the surprise factor. I made that. I have enough for an album. I like basically what came out.
Okay, so Raphael says, what is the point we're needing to get here? The point you're needing to get here is that you can't believe yourself, your opinion, in any given moment. That's the point, and we need to listen more objectively in order to approach that. Yeah, because think about it, Raphael. If your opinion in any given moment is unreliable, then what sense does it make to if you believe it 100%, and 1 minute you think it's great and 1 minute you think it's terrible, right? So 1 minute you're doing a certain set of things, the next minute you're doing another set of things, the opposite. Yeah, you can see how that would end up going backwards and forwards between, you fix it, you change it, you fix it. Yeah, it's one of the reasons that people get so messed up in the creative process, because they're it's almost like they're chasing their tail. Never, when my cat sometimes chases her tail, and it's quite funny, right? Because never catching it, right? Because your opinion is constantly shifting. Yeah, so you kind of need to disengage from that opinion, not believing it so strongly, not holding on to it so tightly in any given moment, so that you can have a more objective view on what is actually happening. That's the point we're getting to.
Yes. Um,
Yes. Aiden says, I feel like Mike's been telling us that's the point since day one. Don't trust your opinion in any given moment. Yes. So, no, but I mean, to be fair, Raphael probably hasn't been on, the streams and stuff. It's just absolutely fine. So it's great questions, Raphael. Please keep asking them.
Marshall asks, does that imply that we'll never really know how others perceive our music because your mind is different than mine?
Means yes. Yes. That means yes. Absolutely. Of course. I mean, how else could it be? And that's the point. I mean, another point is that, I mean, if you think that people are going to have the same opinion as you, and if you think that opinion is going to constantly be fixed, and if you think your opinion is constantly fixed, and you think it's right, then that leads to a whole set of things that you end up doing. And I can tell you where it leads, actually. It leads to utter disappointment, abject failure, feeling like an abject failure, because you're so sure of your opinion, and you're so sure that you can read people's minds and of other people's opinions, that when reality reliably delivers you something different, because remember, your opinion's changing and everyone else's opinion is always changing, what happens? You get disappointed, you get upset, you get angry, you get frustrated, you start shaking your fist at reality, you get demotivated, and so it goes on. So, and then you can't finish music, and you've made this amazing piece of work that everyone absolutely loves, and you can't, and you end up in a hole, not being able to finish anything because you believed your opinion so damn strongly in every damn moment. Yeah, you can move forward in the face of uncertainty. In fact, that is how you will win in the game of the creative process. By accepting, it's not pretending that you can be certain. Yeah, deluding yourself into thinking that you can be certain. It's going, I am uncertain, I will always be uncertain. Uncertainty is the thing I have to work with. I am going to move forward anyway. Yeah. Spencer. So, Spencer has a little bit of a God complex going on here. I experience objective reality. I'm the only one. And as we all know, if we've watched Highlander, there can be only one. So, love it. Absolutely love it. So, all right. So let's quickly, let's round this out. So, remember, just like splurging, direct listening is a practice you'll get better at. Okay. As I said, I have attention challenges, and this practice helps me actually with those challenges, as well as ensuring I make better musical decisions. Okay. So, good. Win-win. Yeah. Who's in for a win-win? Okay. So if you want to kind of improve your focus, even if you don't have attention challenges, yeah. If you want to improve your focus, improve your ability to do good work, and make better music, then practice direct listening. Okay. Now, let's talk about this slightly more boring, but in a sense more exciting stuff, which is the competition submission details, before finishing this particular stream.
Boring. This is what everybody was waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, hang on. There we go. Where are we? So I've got my comments covering up my thing. All right. So here is the Idea Explosion Challenge program. So we've got a video here, which will probably start auto-playing if I'm okay. Yeah, so watch that first. It tells you stuff that you need to know. And then in this video, I actually go through the first page of the competition submission thing. Now, before you go to this page, you're going to have to zip up all of your MP3s of your splurges into a zip file and upload them to some sharing service. We've given you some options here and some instructions if you don't know how to do it. I would expect that most people would know, but if you don't, here's how to do it. Okay? Watch these videos below, because if you want to make so while you are uploading your MP3 to that service of your choosing, watch these videos. Okay. And then you submit your splurges on this submission page. Now, remember, we need one download link of a zip file of all your splurges. I'll go to the submission page in a second. Okay. So instructions for how to do that are above in here. Yeah. And we are judging your entry based upon your answers to the questions, which you'll find on page 2 of the submission form. Okay. Competition submissions close midnight, Sunday, January the 17th, Pacific time. And we will be announcing the winner by the 22nd of January on Discord and via email. Okay, so this is the page. And there is a page 2, which I won't show you because it has the questions in, and I want you to do this before you get the questions. Okay? So essentially, just put your first name in, your last name in, your email address in, and your Discord name, username, nickname. The reason for that is that if you win, we want to be able to get in touch with you. Right? Obviously. Here's the instructions again on how to upload your splurges, and then you put the link to download your splurges here. We are not going to be listening to all of everybody's splurges. That's not the purpose of you doing that. The purpose of you uploading your splurges to us, and of course we're not wanting to release your music or to steal your ideas. You own all of your ideas. I just want to make that very, very clear. It was so insane to me that people would think that. If I wanted to sign music, I would sign music. I would say, I want to sign some music. Send me your music. So, anyway, I probably don't need to say that again. Anyway, so you put a link to the upload there, and then you click next, and then you will answer some questions, okay, about your experiences. That is how we are judging the contest, based upon your answers to those questions. We will be verifying that you have done the competition by the download link. Yeah. So there's going to be some people who kind of get through by the questions that they answered. We'll be downloading those and checking that they've actually done it. And maybe some of them won't have done it, in which case they will be disqualified. Yeah. So we won't be listening to all your splurges. It wouldn't be possible to do that anyway, unless I had a team of 100 people doing it. But we will be listening to some of them. I will be listening to some of them, particularly those who get to the kind of final stages of the judging, if you like, just because I would be interested to know what you're up to. Okay. So are there any questions about that?
Yes. Little Wing Art asks, can I use my alias on the name part of the form? And if I use my real name, does it stay anonymous? Very important.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yes, it will stay anonymous. Just put in your... the last question is an optional question, which is, do you have anything you'd like to share with us? Anything extra you'd like to say? Say, I would like to be kept anonymous if I win. Or even if I don't win. I would like to be anonymous, full stop. Yeah, just put that and anything else you want to say to us. So yeah, you can remain anonymous, and for us not to say exactly who you are if you want.
Frankie asks or says, I can't see the congratulations. Please watch under best bits.
Maybe try refreshing your page. I seem to think, let me just check. I will check. That's a bit weird. Can other people see that? This one?
Claire says it's still, let me log in, see if I can see it. And people are saying yes.
I just want to highlight this. It's a real penny drop moment. This first listen is the closest you'll get to somebody else's first listening. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely huge. Alex, will you be listening to some of the Splurges? Yeah, we'll be listening to some of the Splurges. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be curious. Of course, I will. I can't. I'm not going to be able to not. But we're not going to be listening to all of them, and some of them based upon. I mean, you've got to think about it. I don't know how many people are going to have completed the challenge. This is the first time we've run this as a competition, so I've got no idea how many submissions there are going to be. Like, literally zero idea. But the way the judging will work is I will go to the question page. We will go to the question page first and read through the answers to the questions. Don't write essays, a couple of paragraphs. Some of them are going to be short. So for instance, how many splurges did you do? That's a very short answer. 10. Not 10. That wouldn't work. 11. It has to be at least 11, right? So 11. Have you done any training with me before? Is this your first time splurging? No and yes. Yeah. Or I've been splurging for 3 years and I've done all of your programs. Obviously, I'm going to take that into account when I'm doing the judging, right? Because I want to make this fair for new people as well as old, people who've been make music lifers for a long time. Yeah, we're not going to be comparing like that. This is about progress, remember, not what you're actually doing. So we're going to be reading through your answers to the questions, and then some people are going to get to the next stage of the judging. Those people, that our next process is to verify that you have actually completed the challenge and that you're not just, typing a load of nonsense. Then we will download your splurges and make sure that you have done the requisite number. Yeah. Then it's about basically sorting through the people who have made that, who have got through to that final thing and think who is the winner. And of those people, I'm sure we will be listening to some of the Splurges. Not all. I mean, Muff, for instance, has completed like 6.5 hours of music. I doubt I'll be listening to all of them. Sorry, Muff. So yeah, it seems that other people can see the congratulations thing. I need to just, which probably means that you might need to de-cookie your browser or use a different browser, because probably what it is that your browser is remembering the last state of this page, which was that this wasn't available, probably. So that's how I would get past that.
Okay. Billy asks about timestamping on MP3s. Is that a problem?
No.
For conversion? No. Okay. Reverbate says on SoundCloud is just making a playlist with the uploads.
That's fine.
Okay. Claire asks, this is something for later. What app do you use for mapping out the process, i.e. the map or the AMM?
MindNode. It's a Mac app. It's great. I love it. I've been using it for years. I do everything. I do everything in MindNode. I had to play catch up for a few days since I was working during the beginning. Do the dates of the bounces matter? So if it says on the dates of the bounces, 2008, that's going to matter. But in terms of you don't know. As long as you've done 11 splurges within this 11 days, at some point, you're all good. Yeah.
Robin asks, should we put what we think is our best splurge first?
No. Doesn't matter.
So I don't know what there was a program. Who asked this? Yoga Dollar. There was a program somebody mentioned earlier to convert WAV to MP3s, but I'm sure if you Google online, you can find something, or iTunes if you.
Yeah, iTunes, Apple Music, that works.
Rob asks if they get stuck with the submission of the splurges, can I Discord you for assist?
Oh yeah, ask questions on Discord, but ask them in the yes. I think Luke's not feeling too good, but he is going to be in Discord. But I can't imagine you are going to get stuck because it's very, very simple.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yes. On SoundCloud, it's just making a playlist with the uploads. Do they have to be download enabled?
No, no, they don't. They don't. Well, I haven't thought about it. That's a very good question, Reverb. Again, this is the first time I'm doing it, so what do you think, Arash? That's not something I've thought about. Ideally, yes, because then we'd be able to verify certain things.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't have, I'm not sure if you want to do that, if it's not a private SoundCloud playlist, and maybe you don't have a private SoundCloud account, in which case use another method.
Yeah. Number of splurges should be different from number of ideas, right? Yoga Dollar asks. I mean, they're technically the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what I don't understand. I guess with that one, sorry, Yoga Dollar, I don't understand the question exactly. I mean, I've been using ideas and splurges interchangeably here, so yeah, I'm not sure what that means exactly.
Alex Rose asks, how rigid do the splurges have to stick to the exact parameters of each challenge? As I took some liberties.
How dare you take liberties with me? Very, very bad. Yeah, no, that's fine. Again, the rules of the splurge, aside from zero focus on quality, speed, export, and don't listen, those rules are rules. But all of the others are starting points, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. The two enough question I just saw, is a WeTransfer link okay to send the zip?
Absolutely, all good. Yeah, David's got a good thing with browsers. If something's not working, then do that. Shift and then refresh. That will clear it won't get back the old, the existing, the way it was before. It will sort of make it new. It will reload the page. Hard refresh is what it's called in the game, apparently. I never knew that, David. You learn something new every day. So there you go.
Alex also asks, what are you looking for in the responses?
We're looking for an honest description of what happened, of your progress, what you got out of it, what the challenges were that you faced, how you overcame them. I mean, you don't have to write essays. This should probably take you 10 minutes, I would think. What are you going to do with it? That kind of thing. Just be honest. Okay?
That's it. Adine, MP3, 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 MP3. Thanks. Andy, I don't know what question you're asking. How long exactly we got? Or when's the deadline?
Yes. So the deadline is 18th. Sorry, hang on a minute. Let me just check. I've got the date. I'm so confused because my date is a day ahead. Yeah, so 17th. January the 17th Pacific time. January the 17th Pacific time. I will say it once again. January the 17th Pacific time. Here we go.
Bam.
Midnight, Sunday, January the 17th Pacific time.
Ryan Oblique, do we need to enable downcloud on the tracks if we upload to SoundCloud? Yes.
Yes, and if you don't want to do that, or you can't because of the... Just make sure the mic is unmuted. Yeah, because you can't, because you don't want it to be non-private, then do it a different way. I think we do need to be able to download the thing so we can verify things about the file. Yeah.
Yoga Dollar makes a decent point. If we convert Wave to MP3, all splurges will be the same date.
That's actually true. That's very true. Very good point. That's something I'll have to think about for next time. So yeah. Look, I mean, this is always going to be imperfect, right? It's like that there is a certain amount of trust involved. The thing is, I am willing to bet almost anything that I would be able to tell from someone's answers if they'd actually done the challenge or not.
Yeah.
Right? I really like it's amazing what you can tell from what people write. So Apart from anything else, I do recognize people as well. And I know I've been, keeping my eye on Discord. I can also go into the software, the coaching site software, and see what's been going on in there as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't, that's just one of the ways in which we'll do it. Okay. It's really, really hard to actually kind of cover all bases in this sense, but no, you're absolutely right about that. But there's not much we can do. So,
Not a lot. Will Suggest asks, will Discord stay up after this is done?
Discord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will that stay,
Yes. You're now a member of the Make Music Your Life community. You're now a Make Music Your Lifer, if you want to be, for as long as you want to be. So yeah, you're welcome to stay within the Discord. There are a number of things happening after the Idea Explosion Challenge, which we'll tell you about later. I won't confuse you now. Where we can remain friends for as long as you want to be friends. I'm really here to help, in whatever way I can, and all the way, all the way if you want. That's what this is about. I'm not going anywhere. I will still be here, and so will Discord. And I'm pretty sure we'll be doing another of these in 3 months' time as well. In fact, on that note, let's just talk about the next. Hang on. Yeah. The next session.
Would you do me a favor, Mike, and give? I felt like the becoming a Make Music Your Life for lifer deserves like an air horn or an explosion.
Oh, no problem. Let's get the really good one. There you go.
Thanks for indulging me.
Yeah, just as long as you recognize we are not a cult. Okay? We encourage questioning. Yes. Yeah. So, hang on a minute. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not what we're doing the next time at all. Hang on a minute. Let me find what we're doing next time. So this is on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the. Rewind. Where is it? There it is. How to finish your ideas on Monday, January the 18th. Same time as this session. A roadmap of the creative process. The errors which common sense tells you to do, but which damage your process and destroy your ideas. And find out why the biggest opportunity for a music producer I've ever witnessed is right now. If you can make great music consistently, and I mean it so strongly that I am making music again and have launched new artist project Zentor, of which you heard a bit with 1 track a week, although that's changed into 1 live album a week now. We're doing that on Monday, Tuesday, if you're on the ass end of the world. But yes, the Discord is going to remain. We've got lots of exciting stuff planned for after the Idea Explosion Challenge. So please stick around. Come join us. And yeah, you'll have literally all of your dreams and wishes fulfilled immediately. Because, I've got this magic button, you see, that you can push. And it's amazing because it just literally makes all your dreams come true. Not really. Joking. That was a joke. Yeah. So, any other questions before we finish this out? Yes, not a cult. Now come with me and chant in this room for 5 hours. Not that chanting is cultish, but anyway, sorry. Some of my best friends chant, actually, so I shouldn't say that. But nothing wrong with chanting.
No, not at all. Not at all. Just so to be clear, midnight at the end of Sunday, 17th going into the 18th.
That's right. Yes.
For us.
11. Well, I should probably the best way of saying it is 11:59.
Yes.
The 17th, Sunday the 17th, Pacific time. Okay. So yeah, you've got until the end of Sunday, Pacific time.
There are a few more questions. Brennan says, do we need to go through the coaching side every day? I thought that was just a repeat of what's been said here in the live streams and emails.
Well, no, I mean, it's you don't have to, but if somebody has literally not done anything, in the coaching site, which I can see, then that suggests certain things. Remember, I can actually see who was on here, and I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to try and investigate to a ridiculous level. I think it's going to be fairly clear if anyone hasn't done it from the questions. That's the first thing. But when we get to the kind of final few, then it's about, right, who's done what and stuff like that. So, don't stress it. So, for instance, who was it that said that? Brendan, was it?
Brennan?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen sort of people around. I've seen, people do different things. So it's kind of, it's amazing how much you do actually pick up from doing this kind of thing. So don't feel that you have to have watched every single video or anything like that. I mean, to be honest with you, you'd actually find it very valuable. so you might want to do that. It's not simply a repeat exactly. It's just I am giving you all the information in both areas. It's not, but I wouldn't say it's a repeat. There are different things that are said there as well. And you'll have access to this program afterwards too. So you can, go through it again. Because there's a lot, there's a lot in there. There's a lot that you can learn from in there. So.
Yes, there are a few Sundays questions. There was one from Bendu asks, I converted all my waves to MP3s this morning. Can I include a screenshot of the waves with the dates in the zip?
That's not a bad idea. Thank you. Maybe that's what I'm not going to require that though this time because I didn't think of the problem up front. Yeah. Again, remember I said the way we run this business is we optimize for error correction, not error avoidance. So now I've picked up that that's actually a problem I hadn't thought of. So that would be a good solution to it. So who said that?
Bendu.
Thank you, Bendu. You've solved a problem for me. So hang on. You get one of them for free.
Below that, Marshall asks, we got to submit the original Splurges, meaning if between the direct listening until the deadline, we do another session on some Splurges, do we submit the latest or first version?
No. You submit the Splurges. Good question. Very good question. No, you submit the actual Splurges. I mean, it doesn't really matter because we're not judging it based on quality. Yeah, but submit the original Splurges.
Rob asks, can we include old Splurges from the last 11-day challenge?
No. Absolutely not. Because then that would be cheating, in fact. Yeah. I mean, not that you had the intention of cheating, by the way. I recognize that. It's just, you would be unintentionally cheating. But now that I've told you it's cheating, intentionally cheating if you did that.
Leroy asks, my countdown challenge was done in a 30-minute take, but includes several splurges at different tempos, genres, and keys. Should I split it up to take my splurge total up?
No, it's okay. As long as you've got 11 separate files, then you'll be good. Yeah. I just need to highlight this one. A little bit of a sales moment here from Mike Manley. Yeah. It says your t-shirts are consistently superb. Actually, funny you should say that, because in here, in the how we could work more closely together. Let me find it. All right. There are other programs that I do. I'm not going to jump up and down about these right now. But now you've learned to splurge, you can get the t-shirts. Look. Not all of my t-shirts, obviously, because some of them I didn't make, but we've got various different ones. Automatic music machine ones. Here's the one. Here's the one I'm wearing right now, in fact. So there you go. A split. Oh, look. Rather handsome model there. He looks much better on him than me. Bastard. Anyway, never mind. I guess I have other skills in other areas. So yeah. If you want to get the t-shirt, get the t-shirt. Anyway, sales message over.
There are two things. Oh, who said it? Colin says, all right, I'll say it. I miss Luke.
Oh, we all miss Luke. Don't we all miss Luke? Yeah, I miss Luke too. Yeah, we
Yes.
missed Arash last time too. So
We're balancing each other out.
yeah, is
The
splurge really a word? Yes, it is, but it's usually used in reference to spending lots of money. I'm going to splurge, like spend loads of money. I'm going to go to the sales and splurge. But it just felt like a good word to use for it. 'Cause it's kind of very similar, because it's meant to be fun and silly. And it's funny. It was a school teacher who did one of my programs, and he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna teach this to some of my students, but I think I'm going to rename it." And I was like, "Really? Why would you rename it?" So it's just it needs to be a bit more serious. I'm like, "Okay, so that's not splurging." Sorry. Yes. So.
Reverbate asked a little earlier. Can you tell us a bit about the leap?
Yeah, I can tell you a bit more about the leap next time. I'm gonna have to go and do family stuff. I can tell you a bit about that. Definitely. I don't want it to turn into a massive pitch fest though. But I will tell you more about the leap next time.
Yeah.
All I can say is it's great. Obviously, but then I'm biased. And the other thing I can say is that it's not a cult. So where are we? There was one that I saw. Yes, of course you can. I've already got loads of children, so one more won't mind. I don't, where are we? I found one that was really important. Where was it? What about the How to Focus program? Be quiet. No. Be quiet says, what about the How to Focus program? That's a very good question, and one that I am going to answer shortly when I actually remember to do what I said I was going to do. So I apologize profusely that I haven't done it yet. Let's get this sorted. I will send you the How to Focus program after the challenge is done and once we've done all of this stuff. So I promise. Hand on Splurge t-shirt. It's a really good one, this one. Yes, you can buy it from me. Go to this link. No, I'm joking. So the hand on Splurge t-shirt, I will do it, I promise. I just haven't done it yet. It's been, I tell you what, 2021 with this Splurge, this Idea Explosion Challenge and doing the competition, the Discord community, and these, all of these presentations are new. I've had to, I've done them sort of from the ground up. Literally coming into 2021, they say I'm going to hit the ground running in 2021. I was saying to Luke the other day, I said it's not so much that we've hit the ground running. What's happened is that we hit the ground and then we were dragged along for the last couple of weeks. So that's what 2021 has been like for me. So I apologise about not getting that done yet, but I will.
One request of everybody: hit that like button. If you finish the 11-day challenge, and this should be everybody.
Yeah, come on, big ups. Yeah, well done, everyone. You did it, and the cliched. Everyone's a winner. It's the taking part that counts. No, it's not. I want the Moog. I just want that Moog. I really want it. Yeah. So, but honestly, the splurges, the creative momentum you've gained, the time that we've spent together. It's been great to see the community develop. It's really interesting from our perspective to see how these things start, and everyone's all a bit and a bit skeptical, and then by the end, everyone kind of relaxes and starts opening up and being, it's just a great thing to see how human beings work. We are strange and wonderful creatures, us human beings. It's been an absolute pleasure to show you splurging, but it's not done. Remember, because we've got this coming, how and why to finish your ideas, because I have heard from a few people that people are saying, what's the point? There is more of a point now than there's ever been, as shown by the fact that I'm making music and releasing tons of it as well. So we will see you in a couple of days' time. Good luck with the submission process. I will do my best to keep my eye on Discord to make sure that we're fielding any questions. Please don't stress it too much. What we're looking for in the winner is the person who has made the most progress. Obviously, it's difficult to judge that, and that is a vague term, and there's going to be a number of people in contention, obviously. But do your best. Remember, you've made progress by doing this at all, And until Monday, my Tuesday, have fun. Onwards and upwards.